everybody. This is Ryan McClanahan with HistoryThroughCards.com. I hope you're all doing very well today. So in this video, I'm going to tell you guys about Charley Trippi. He is a quarterback and a halfback for the Chicago Cardinals. He played from 1947 to 1955. And what I am going to kind of go through is just a little bit of his uh, history and share a article from 1947. In fact, the article I'm going to share is the championship from 1947. Charley is still alive. He's 100 years old, and I think that's awesome. This is something you don't really see often in football. There are a few football players who have turned 100 years old. Um, Ace Parker, I believe he played with the Brooklyn Dodgers football club. He was 101 when he passed away, and he's actually in the Hall of Fame as well. Charley made the Hall of Fame in 19, let me see, I believe it was 1975. Sorry, 1968, yeah. He's also in the College Hall of Fame as well. And I do have a couple of cards. In fact, I have the majority of Charley Trippi's cards. I think I'm missing a few. I don't like his 1953 Bowman very much. In fact, I'm not a big fan of the 53 Bowman at all. I think it's that big giant white football. But I know some of you guys might like that set. My favorite Charley Trippi cards are his rookie cards and the 1951 and 52 Bowman. The 1948 Kellogg's Pep here, this is also his rookie card, and as you can see, it's quite small. I do like it. It's the photography. This is actually a multi-sport set, and there's a lot of actors and actresses as well. I do have a lot of these cards, but I'll show you the back of it because you guys might not have ever seen these before. I'm not sure, but it looks something like this. That's not blurry. So what I'm going to actually do as well is kind of show you some of this stuff up close or closer. So most of you guys, I'm sure, are familiar with the 1948 Bowman, and this is his rookie card. Now I have had this forever, and it is a really nice card. I do like Charley Trippi's cards. Again, the 1951 and 52 Bowman are probably my favorite. So, who is Charley Trippi, you may ask? Well, Charley Trippi, he was born in December 14th, 1921, and he is still alive. I hope he makes it to be 101 or 102 or 105. Whatever happens, happens, but he's 100, and like I say, there's not a whole lot of football players that end up being 100. Unfortunately, I think if you look over the list of or the checklist, I should say, of the 1951 or 52 Bowman football, you're going to see a lot of those guys have passed on uh, uh, 75 years or younger. So you're not seeing a whole lot of those guys really kind of age appropriate, I guess, which is really too bad, but it's the nature of the sport. So Trippy was a two-time Pro Bowl. He is the 1940s All-Decade team member. He's a national champion and an SEC Player of the Year, and he was a unanimous All-American in college. And unfortunately, I did not write down what college he went to. I know a lot of collectors really kind of focus in on a football player's college career. And in this case, Trippy went to the 1943 Rose Bowl, and he won the Maxwell Award, which is the nation's most outstanding player. He spent 1944 and 1945 in the Army Air Corps during World War II, and he went to the Football Hall of Fame in 1968. So I said 1975 before, but that's just the old slip of the tongue. So, um, what's really also kind of interesting too is that he was an outstanding baseball player. so much so that he was offered several contracts by the Red Sox, the Phillies, and the Yankees. And he played in the minors for I think 2 years, in 1946 and 1947. What I have here, I'm not entirely sure how accurate this is because I haven't checked his stats, but uh, I think in 1946 he played 30 games with the Atlanta Crackers, and he had a 475 batting average and 11 home runs as a shortstop and outfielder in 1947. I think he also played as well, but he chose the NFL because he thought he felt that it was more of a stable career. In fact, I think he was correct. Unfortunately, what happens with baseball is you work your way up, but you can also be demoted as well. On the flip side, you can break bones very easily. In Charlie's case, he got sucker punched by Ed Sprinkle, who is also in the Hall of Fame. He just made it, I think, about a year ago or so. But Ed Sprinkle sucker punched him, and I don't know what the details of that was, but I think a year later, um, Charley Trippi punched him back and broke his jaw. In both cases, these guys had broken jaws. So that's not something you really see in baseball. He joined the Chicago Cardinals for an unheard of price for $100,000 plus a $25,000 bonus. That $125,000 contract that Charlie signed today, it's an estimated $1.66 million. Not a bad haul, I should say so myself. He's also a part of Charlie Bidwell's dream backfield, and this included Marshall Goldberg, who I've talked about in a previous video, and I do believe that Marshall should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure why he's not. I think it's just a travesty. Anyway, you also have Pat Harder and Elmer Angsman as well, and those guys were also really fantastic. So, I'm gonna go through this article with you guys, and I will talk to you in a bit. This is from the Detroit Free Press, December 29th, 1947. Four long scoring runs give Cardinals NFL title 28 to 21. This is by Bob Latshaw. Spectacular running attack outscored an equally spectacular passing attack, and as a result, the Chicago Cardinals are the 1947 National League champions. The Cardinals exploded for four long touchdown runs, one in each period, to defeat the Philadelphia Eagles 28 to 21 before 30,759 fans in Comiskey Park. The heroes of the Cardinals' march to the first NFL championship in the club's history were Golden Boy Charley Trippi and ex-Notre Damer Elmer Angsman. This pair scored all four Chicago touchdowns, and three were the result of dashes of 70 yards or better. Trippy opened the scoring in the first period with a 44-yard charge through the middle. Axman then added his first marker on a 70-yard sprint through the same sector in the second period. Trippy scored again in the third on a 79-yard punt return, and Axman ended the scoring with a second 70-yard dash, again up the middle. Meanwhile, Tommy Thompson, pitching strikes for the Eagles, set up all three Philadelphia scores. In the sparking attack, Thompson shattered an NFL playoff record by completing 27 of 44 passes. Both the completions and the number thrown exceeded the record held by Sam Baugh of the Washington Redskins since 1937. Axman also established a record for yards gained rushing in a championship game when he carried the ball 10 times for 159 yards. He takes over the title held by Bill Osmanski of the Chicago Bears since 1940 when he ran 109 yards against the Washington Redskins in 10 tries. The game as a whole was a rather drab affair, excepting the four long touchdown sprints. Steve Van Buren, who established a league record for ground gaining during the regular season was stopped completely in the first half, losing ground on the first 6 of 7 attempts into the line. He finished the day with a net gain of 26 yards. During the first minutes of the game, the Cardinals were outplayed by the Eagles, but a long return of a punt by Red Cochran, who ran from the Cards' 42 to the Eagles' 18, set the stage for the first touchdown. A clipping penalty moved the ball back to the Eagles' 44, but on the first play, Trippy scampered up to the center for a touchdown. Pat Harder converted the first of 4 points after touchdown, and the Cards were out in front to stay. After the Eagles continued to dominate the play, driving to the 15-yard line on one occasion before losing the ball, the Cardinals struck again. The punt set them back on their own 19, and just 4 plays later, Angsman hit the trail to pay dirt. Thompson put the Eagles back in the ball game in the closing stages of the first half with a 53-yard touchdown pass to Pat McHugh, but Trippy got that one back shortly after the intermission. Apparently hopelessly trapped after taking a punt, Trippy squirmed his way from the 4 would-be tacklers and scored after a 79-yard jaunt. Then Thompson went to work again and completed 7 of 8 passes to spark a 73-yard Eagles drive that saw Van Buren carry the ball over from the 1-yard line. Joe Muir apparently put the Cards in the hole with a 69-yard quick kick, but the Chicagoans bounced right back to score. Chrisman completed a 20-yard pass to the Cards' 30. Then Angsman ran through a big hole at the center to score the final Chicago marker. Russ Kraft scored the Eagles' last touchdown after Thompson pitched them 48 yards down the field. The victory was worth $1,132.47 to each Cardinal player. The loser's share was $754.98 apiece. The disappointing crowd, kept down by 27-degree temperature, paid a gross gate of $159,498. I would have loved to have seen this game myself. I think that would have been awesome. A lot of the ball players that I mentioned in the article do have cards in the 1948 Bowman set, specifically Marshall Goldberg, who is a notorious short print. Then you have Paul Chrisman, Pat Harder, Elmer Angsman, Sammy Baugh, which is not his rookie card. His rookie is actually in the 1938 Dixie Lid Premium set, but it's still a nice card. Anyway, you also have Steve Van Buren as well, and this is his rookie card. And Steve Van Buren is a ball player that is not really talked about often these days, but he is a superstar in the 1940s, and it's not really one of my favorite cards, I gotta admit. If I was going to pick up a Steve Van Buren card, it would have been in the 1952 Bowman set, which I really like that card. And I'll talk about Steve Van Buren in another video. However, uh, the one interesting thing I noticed in this article was that they had said that this is the first championship win for the Cardinals, and technically that's not entirely the case. They were in the 1925 championship versus the Pottsville Maroons, but what happened was they had felt that the Maroons had somehow cheated when they played, I believe it was the Notre Dame team. I'm not sure if it's the same Notre Dame team, but they were playing a team that was not scheduled, and the NFL stripped the Maroons from the championship in 1925 and gave it to the Cardinals instead. And again, that's been something that's been talked about since at least 1963, trying to get that championship restored back to the Maroons, and I'm not sure if that's actually going to happen. So it could be the reason why they said that this is the first championship. And again, you can talk about the technicalities of this all day long, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about it too. In fact, I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about these ball players or the championship itself. If you have any comments below, let me know, because I really enjoy hearing what you guys have to say. I also wanted to mention is that The 1948 Bowman set is notorious for two things. First, it's found off center quite a bit, and then there's a lot of like toning issues around the borders itself and in the back as well. I've noticed with these cards, but I don't think that any of these cards are really that difficult. As I say, Marshall Goldberg is a short print. Either Pat Harder or Elmer Angsman may be a little bit difficult. And again, I'm not entirely sure if they're a short print. In fact, I forget off the top of my head what the short print is divisible by. Maybe one or three. I'm just going through off the top of my head with a lot of this stuff. Marshall Goldberg again. Like I said, he's only has maybe one card. Pat Harder, Russ Kraft, and Elmer Angsman. You can find those guys in the 1950 and 51 Bowman set as well, and I think Russ Kraft also is in the 52 set as well. I've heard a lot of great things about him, in fact. And then, you know, Charley Trippi has a complete run through from his beginning of his career, but 1948 through 1955, you will not have any problem trying to track down a Charley Trippi card. This might be the most difficult of his run. Um, I have noticed that the Kellogg's Pep cards are usually found off center, but oh, they're also you're gonna find these cards creased quite a bit often as well. So you might want to keep that in mind, and they're a little bit on the expensive side too. And I've also found that this card can be now on the expensive side as well. When I purchased this card in my youth, uh, it was not that expensive. But this card I never really see. I don't really come across this card all that often. It doesn't mean it's rare, it's just I don't come across it. So anyway, guys, with that, I want to say thank you very much for stopping by. I greatly appreciate it as always. And if you have any comments on any of the ball players or the championships, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say as always. And I always get back to you guys. So with that, guys, I will talk to you later. And that's it. See you later.